Hi, I'm John Kulak. I'm a graduate student in the Licensed Professional Counseling Program at LeTourneau University. The presentation you're about to see is called Predicting and Preventing Alzheimer's Disease. This topic was of particular importance to me because my mom died of complications associated with Alzheimer's back in 2001. And back then, my four sisters and I did quite a bit of research on the various treatment options for mom, drug therapies, and other options that were available. And we were also, of course, interested in the implications for us because we knew then that there was a genetic component to Alzheimer's. So we were interested if we were going to suffer the same fate that happened to my mom. And so a lot of the presentation, a lot of the information, both in this intro as well as the PowerPoint show, include information I learned back then and the actual experiences we had working with mom as she progressed through this illness. In terms of what Alzheimer's is, it's actually a progressive cognitive decline. It begins with memory function, but it ultimately expands to all parts of the person. And they ultimately died, as my mom did, of pneumonia, where she couldn't even walk, and so her lung function declined, and she eventually just died of pneumonia. The history of Alzheimer's is actually that it was first diagnosed over 100 years ago in 1907 by a German physician named Alois Alzheimer's. It's a very cruel disease, really. It affects both the sufferer, the victim of the disease, but it really exacts a toll on the family as well. And in our case, my oldest sister, Jan, actually quit her job and tried to take care of mom as much as she could. And in the last year or year and a half, we had to actually have her in a nursing home. And so the cost on the human suffering is profound. It's expensive financially. The losses are estimated to be $148 billion, loaded costs throughout for the United States alone, and some 5.1 million people are affected by the disease. And of course, that's profound as well. And that number is expected to increase as the age of the population increases. In terms of the treatment options for Alzheimer's, well, really there are none. No effective treatment options. Alzheimer's is a progressive disease, and it will certainly eventually overtake the person. You can do certain things to lower your probability of getting Alzheimer's, and if you do have it, there are some drugs like Aricept which have some marginal effect, but in truth there is really no treatment for Alzheimer's per se. The things you can do to lower the probability that you're going to get Alzheimer's include things like not smoking, taking good care of your vascular system, managing cholesterol and your fitness. To the degree you can maintain good quality of the plasticity of your vascular system, those things contribute to lower aspects of Alzheimer's. And a corollary finding that wasn't in the Commer text, but actually I noticed, was the concept called cognitive reserve, which is really the mind's ability to adapt to injury to the brain, if you will. And the identification in the research was that people who have advanced education have greater amounts of cognitive reserve, and it's not a causal factor, and that education doesn't cause cognitive reserve, but rather people who tend to get higher levels of education tend to have more cognitive reserve. The significance of those is profound in the sense that those with higher levels of cognitive reserve are 4 to 10 times less likely to get Alzheimer's. And so while that is not preventative in truth, it does at least help those of us that have gone on for advanced education have more hope that there's a lower probability at least that we will get the disease. In sort of my personal thoughts on the matter was that I left it as a final note in my presentation that my last time with mom was actually when she was on her deathbed. She was in the hospital. She died before I was able to stay with her, so I had to leave. And as I was leaving, she was in a coma and had been for several days. And I let her know that it was okay if she wanted to go and be with the Lord, that we would be okay with that. All of us behind would be fine, and if she had to go, that was okay. And I just wanted to tell her I loved her one last time. And interestingly, even though her mind hadn't been functioning for a long time, it was clear to me that she heard me, and her respiration rate picked up, and it looked to me like she was really trying to crawl back out of the coma to I think, speak to me one last time. But of course she never did, and those were really my last moments with her. But I guess I'll leave this little intro with some hope, in the sense that even though my mom's mind wasn't functioning, it was clear to me that she understood what was happening, and she was trying to communicate. So I encourage anyone who has a person in their family or in their lives that has Alzheimer's to continue to talk to them and pray with them and sing to them, and because I think there's evidence in my experience that the person probably can hear you, and if nothing else, it gives you the opportunity or the hope that you can communicate with them even when they can't communicate back. So I leave you with that as a measure of hope. I hope the presentation is both interesting and helpful to you, and I look forward to your comments on it. Thank you.